Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
It is now time for the New Life Show featuring Dr. Sheryl Armstrong every Thursday. Now, let's go live into the studio.
His praises shall continually be in my mouth. No matter what I see or how I feel, as long as I'm breathing, oh yes, I'm breathing, I'll bless the Lord. As long as I'm breathing, oh yes, I'm breathing, I'll bless the Lord. Father, have your way in this place. You be glorified in it all. Come, let's raise it together. Say, I will bless the Lord at all times, and His praises shall continually be. No matter what I see, as long as I'm breathing, oh yes, I'm breathing, I'll bless the Lord. As long as I'm breathing, hey, oh yes, I'm breathing, I'll bless the Lord. Say, oh magnify the Lord. Let us exalt His name. That's the reason why we're here tonight. Let's lay down our crowns and live. We're gonna do it together. Let's do it together. Let's go. Let's do it together. I need some help in this room. Hey, let's do it together. That means you. Let's do it together. Y'all ready to praise Him right here? Listen, because you've been better than good to me.
Greetings, WDO 980 AM. I'm so happy to be here today. I have a special guest. Hi, Miss Jacqueline Lee. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful, Anthony. How are you?
I am doing awesome. I'm so happy for you to be here today with the Women International Month. How? I hope your day is going pretty well. And Jacqueline, thank you so much for being in the welcome 980 WDDO 107.9 FM. And thank you for coming live today. And thank you so much, Ms. Jacqueline Lee. We'll be discussing the woman therapy and why is it necessary. Once again, 980 AM, 107.9 FM. Thank you for tuning in. Dr. Sheryl Armstrong Show, New Life Counseling, located Coral Vincent Parkway. If you need counseling therapy services, please call 478-449-0167. Ms. Jacqueline Lee, what does mental health mean for you, especially being an African-American woman in this time?
Wow. Well, mental health is being able to fully balance life in all aspects, as far as, being able to control your emotions, and whether it's at work, at home, just out in public. I mean, you have to have a strong mental capacity to be able to deal with the things that are going on today in the world, with everything that's going on. Um, and spiritually, you have to go back to the Bible. The Bible teaches us to think on certain things, think on these things, and it all helps with your mental health. Um, I think that we need to be able to bridge the gap between our spiritual life and our emotional health, because for a long time, you know, we were told not to go to counseling,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people will say, that's what quote unquote white people do. But I have seen more and more African American men, women, Hispanics, all cultures now that are turning to counseling and mental health, because we all deal with mental health issues on some level.
Wow, that is so awesome that you said that. Once again, we have Jacqueline Lee in the studio today, 980 AM WDDO 107.9 for the month of March today, and for the rest of this month until the 31st is Women International recognition, to recognize the woman. Especially, I do believe in promoting the African American woman. I do believe that the Black woman is the most neglected human being on the face of this earth, and to uplift the Black woman mind, to uplift her mind, body, and soul upon this month. I believe as Black men, we should do this every day. If you are into leadership, as a pastor, as a minister, as a husband, to make sure that that your woman mind is solid and healthy through the word of God, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And next week we have emotional intelligence counselor. Your husband CJ recommended Mr. Noble Gibbons, and he will be speaking about emotional intelligence on next week. But the counseling and the mental health of a woman, like you said, Miss Jacqueline, is so important. How do you balance your life mentally of being a wife, being a mother, being a woman of God, and working at the same time, and I'm kind of like balancing your life, and because a woman in her, I believe a woman sets the presence in her home. You guys decorate, bake, cook, and you wear so many hats. How do you balance your mental health? How do you make sure that your mind is healthy?
De-stress.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
Sometimes you just have to get away to a quiet place, and I will do that often. I mean, sometimes it's just simple as, taking a walk, just to, get your mind back, stop thinking about all the things that are going on in the world. I know everything is, is bombarding us with gas prices, the stuff that's going on in Ukraine, and like you said, a woman pretty much sets the precedence of everything in the home, and everything falls on our shoulders, as you said. And sometimes we do get overwhelmed, and
Hmm.
I found, sometimes it's just as simple as just saying, I'll take a J day, and that's
Wow.
a day that I just don't do anything except for what I want to do, relax. Sometimes I listen to some good music just to de-stress, because we need time to ourselves. Yes, we are married. If we are married, if you're married, you are married and you have your husband there, but there are times when you need some time to yourself so that you can refocus.
I love what you said about refocusing. I've been reading this book, Real Talk, Black Pain. It just looks like we are not hurting by Terry M. Williams. And the real talk for when there's nowhere to go but up. She written page 33, the double whammy, being a woman and being black. She said that statistically on blackwomanshealth.com that depression among African American women is almost 50% higher than it is among white women. Can anybody really be surprised at this? We should be twice as depressed as white women. We suffer double the discrimination. What we believe about life and the world is shaped by our environment, both our home life and the larger society. This put Black women at a hard place. And then she was saying that with the discrimination and being beat up by life and just trying to find your way of going through uh, poverty, poor health, single parenting, homelessness, harassment, incarceration, abuse, dealing with things in the workplace and being silent about it. And she was stating that your silence will not protect you. And I'm noticing a lot of African American females now are seeking counseling and they are breaking their silence and they are being encouraged to see a therapist, seeing a rehabilitation clinic if they are going through a poor health concerning their lupus or breast cancer, drug addictions, internal things that can make you sick. And I do believe that there have been silence within the Black community, especially among Black females, that may say, I'm a strong Black woman and I'm not going to show pain. I don't need counseling. I don't need help. I can do this, and I am the superwoman. Have you ever felt like you were the superwoman? And how did you have to say, you know what, I can be a superwoman in God, or I can be a superwoman in my own right, but how do I balance my life as not doing so much? But I did do believe you said taking a day off and meditating. And how did you, and if you ever went through that of being a superwoman, how did you come into realization that I'm doing too much and it's okay to take a break? It's okay to feel the pain. It's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to say, you know what, I can be vulnerable and I can seek counseling.
Ask for help.
Mm,
And that is a very hard thing for women to do because we are wives, we are mothers. And from creation, we are the problem solvers. God said um, it was not good for man to be alone. He created woman to solve that problem. And so we have been the problem solvers since generation one. And sometimes we have to ask for help. And that means reaching out to other women, have a network of women who are spiritual, who can teach you about mental health, as far as even as Miss Cheryl, who is both spiritual and professional in mental health. But you just have to have a network because we feel sometimes we are so isolated and we don't reach out to other women. And then when you see another woman succeeding and getting her life together, that's where sometimes jealousy comes in. Women become jealous of other women, and then it's it's just a cycle. So we have to be able to realize, okay, I can't do everything by myself. I need help, and seek somebody who is successful in what you are trying to accomplish.
I love what you said that about the envy and how people would show you their successes, and when we think about social media and how social media can show you the great things of people's lives, and people can become jealous or envious, and many people wanted to put out this image, and I'm glad you actually spoke on that, on the envy and jealousy, because sometimes on social media it can become a false illusion, and that can cause depression, anxiety, envy, and pressures. And I was reading once again Dr. Terry book, Black Pain, which was recommended by Dr. Sheryl Armstrong. And if anyone out there that's suffering through depression, anxiety, if you feeling like you are being the superwoman and you don't have time to smell the flowers or to meditate in the morning, but you always on the go, 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 I would say connect with Dr. Sheryl Armstrong, 478-449-0169. Once again, 478-449-01. And I'm sorry, 478-449-0167. Once again, Dr. Sheryl Armstrong, 478-449-0167. 478-449-0167. Once again, WDDO 980 AM 107.9. Like, share, repost, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Once again, 107.9 WDDO 980 AM. Repost, share, relike. Thank you so much for the Facebook followers, for the Instagrams, and for the YouTubers. Post. And to our audio listeners that's riding in the car, thank you so much for tuning in. We are discussing women health. We have Jacqueline Lee online, Miss Jacqueline Lee, who's a mother, who's a woman of God, that is a wife, and that have experienced life, that have experienced therapy through Dr. Sheryl Armstrong. She is a living testimony on what therapy can do. And since this is Women Health Month, we want to focus on the woman, especially the Black woman, the mental, the mind, the making sure that the Black woman is healthy mentally, physically, and spiritually, so she can be the best effective person in her home, the best effective person in her business, becoming a future entrepreneur, becoming a future success in life. Women health is so important, but the Black woman health can be neglected. And when we speak about body imaging and people being envious and feeling like I should get plastic surgery, I should do this, I should get lipo, and not focusing on the internal, not focusing on having a strong, healthy mind academically, physically, mentally. I've been reading this book, Black Pain, recommended by Dr. Sheryl Armstrong. She's discussing body image and how eating can cover up the pain, eating to beat the blues. All too often, mainstream media talks about how Black women don't have the body image issues that white women do. Because in our community, six six reasons why she said I run to the refrigerator at night. I have finally wound up a very long and journey day, and I need something to soothe me. It feels an empty spot if you feeling like you, or if you suffer from anxiety, if you feeling like you have pain, anger. A lot of people have been eating their way through their pain, and looking at the body images of curvy proportions and feeling like you are inadequate, the stereotype, and how eating is also related to psychological. We are eating, we do not feel nourished. And a holistic health counseling would review foods in two categories: physical activity, career, and relationship. The lack of nourishment comes from eating to satisfy our hunger for these primary foods. And when you look at the holistic health of balancing your diet, what you eat controls your mind, and being healthy and learning to collaborate meals for your families that they will love, and a measure of control of relationships, parenting, and how eating can also affect your mental, and how depression can make you eat the wrong foods and and how people are trying to be thin, and how people want to put up a cover up. What when what we put on covers up, what's going on? People are acting out in their feelings. People are feeling hurt. People want to cover up what they are going through. And Miss Jackie, how is it? Why is it important to uncover the mask, like uncovering? And sometimes we want to cover up what we are going through with food to fill in that void, to cover it up with clothes and materialistic things, and we want to cover up the pain, but yet people are still in pain. How can a woman have enough courage to say, you know what, I want to uncover, I want to break my silence, I want to face myself like Michael Jackson's song, I'm going to look at the man in the mirror and I want to seek counseling, and I want to reveal the mask. I want to take off the mask. I don't want to use food as a cover up. I don't want to use um, my materialistic things as a cover up. But I want to seek counseling. I want to seek help with what's going on the inside that people cannot see, because on the outside, people can see your image and they think, oh well, you're doing well, you're fine, but yet there's a deeper pain that people cannot see. How can someone have enough courage to say, I need help?
Well, we have to look at the generation behind us. Do we
Mm,
want that generation to suffer the way
mm,
we are suffering or have suffered with some things? And so we have to be real about what we do. We have to be real about what we've been through, because what we've done or have been through could very well help somebody else, could be their saving grace. That could be something that saves somebody else's life. And if we're walking around all the time with the mask on, portraying this
mm,
image that everything is okay, what are they looking at? We have to be vulnerable sometimes, and to let people know that, hey, we are real. People look at you and say, okay, like you said, oh, they must have everything all together, and she's
mhm,
doing well, but it's all an image, and people show you
mm.
what they want you to see.
Wow, that's
And
good.
if they don't want you to see it, they will hide it. But what does that do for the generation behind us? What does that do for our daughters? What does that do for our nieces? I mean, the women that look at us and say, okay, I want to do this and I want to do that, but they don't know the struggles that we have had to go through to get to that level. So we have to be open and honest and vulnerable about what we have dealt with, both, mentally, spiritually,
Mm,
even physically with the food. A lot of people are
yes,
addicted to food, and
yes.
they use it as comfort. That they have comfort food, and a lot of
Hmm.
women, their comfort food is ice cream.
Hmm.
And most comfort foods, are not good for you, not good for your health.
Hmm.
All the sugar, the starches, the pasta, the comfort foods, and it makes us gain weight.
Hmm.
And then we got women who don't have any self-discipline when it comes to their eating habits, and then they'll go out and get these BBLs and all these,
Hmm.
procedures, and things go wrong.
Mm.
And in some cases, there have been to their detriment, because I have seen on several occasions where there have been women who have had body image problems, and they went out and got these surgeries, and it ended up
Hmm.
they died. When,
I love,
just have a little
right.
discipline, be honest, be true with yourself.
Wow, being true with yourself. And I love what you said about the younger generation. And I've been reading this book, of course, by Dr. Terry M. Williams, Black Pain, recommended by Dr. Sheryl Armstrong. And if you're feeling like you have a food addiction, if you're feeling like you have a certain addiction that you're covering up your pain with, connect with a counselor, Dr. Sheryl Armstrong, 478-449-0167, New Life Counseling. Once again, 980 AM, 107.9 WDDO, 980 AM. Like, share, repost on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. We are speaking about the Black woman health. We have our co-host, Miss Jacqueline Lee, and she just discussed about how our younger generation can become affected uh, by our cover-ups, by covering up our pain. And on chapter 4, Dr. Terry spoke about the young and the depressed. It's a hard knock life. I've always believed strongly in the rights of young people. In fact, there's has never been a time in my adult life that I hadn't had regular, often weekly contact with kids through a youth group organizations. And then she said about how depression runs in kids' lives and how the sins of the parents are visited on the children. And alarming, 65% of boys and 65 and 75% of girls in juvenile detention have at least one mental disorder. Mental health is an essential component of young people. Overall health and well-being concerning relationships, self-esteem, evaluating situations, stress to relate to other people. The bottom line is that kids are people. They have the same range of feelings that we have, the same capacity for joy, the same capacity for heart. I wouldn't even argue that. But in life, basically, kids have all the same problems we have. And as a parent, we must seek counseling. And even as a Black woman or as a single parent woman, and if you're struggling with kids that have mental disorders, family counseling is available. Once again, contact Dr. Sheryl Armstrong, 478-449-0167, because if you know that God gives to me so I can share and pass his blessings forward, you have to learn to give back and recycle the inspiration because what you sow, you will reap. If we don't give our kids time, the system will. Nothing has a stronger influence psychologically on their environment, and especially on their children than the unlived lives of the parents. This is by psychiatrist Carl Jung, and we have to seek um, love through God. We have to seek healing, faith, and we have to know that we have to pray. And the reasons of praying is that I will be blessed. I know God is listening. I am giving thanks and honoring God. Praying let me feel connected to my higher self. And as you pray, it's great to have a counselor that can pray with you. Dr. Sheryl Armstrong, 478-449-0167. She is a spiritual therapist that will pray for you. And you also need a spiritual hospital. If you cannot find it within the church, you have a spiritual doctor, Dr. Sheryl Armstrong, 478-449-0167. Miss Jacqueline Lee, thank you so much for being in the studio today. We love you. We appreciate you. WDDO 980 AM, 107.9 FM. Facebook, thank you so much. To our audio listeners, thank you so much. Once again, Dr. Sheryl Armstrong, New Life Counseling, 478-449-0167. Have a beautiful day. Miss Jacqueline Lee, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much
You're
for
so
being
welcome.
part of this conversation.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Dr. Sheryl Armstrong, the New Life Show. That's here every Thursday, same time, same place. WDDO 980, 107.9 FM. That's the New Life Show.